Yes, it's another one of these segments. From the Desirable Truth, posted by Clown World, a guy asks men and women, how would you rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10? And of course, all the women in the video say that they're 10s, baby. There's a couple of women who say otherwise. One woman says 8. One woman says 11. When the woman says she's an 8, the other girls around her are like, no, believe in yourself. The guys say they're not. One guy's like, I'm a 6. The other guy's like, I'm a 2. I don't give an F, whatever. And the first thing I'm going to say about this video, my friends, it is likely edited. There's probably a lot of women who are like, I don't know, 6 or 7, and they don't include them. There's also a regional selection bias. So I say watch out for these videos. But I do think there may be a hidden truth here. And when I started thinking about when I saw this was, for those that track a lot of this male-female psychology and dating stuff, it's fairly popular for a lot of reasons. Guys are becoming more conservative, women becoming more liberal. Men and women are having less sex. They're not getting married. And there's questions about why. So people are certainly bringing these issues up. What you find is that women on average tend to message men in the 80% or higher attractiveness rating. And men have a standard bell curve. What that means is guys actually think that there's like an average beauty, whereas women don't care at all. They only want the hottest guys. Now, why is that? Some might argue it's because women are vain and entitled, and they think they deserve the hottest guys or nothing. Well, I think there's a balance here. I think guys are willing to bang anything. And I mean that somewhat jokingly. But for guys, it's like, you know, beauty matters. They want hot girls. For women, they need providers. From looking at this from an evolutionary psychological perspective, all women think they're beautiful because all guys want to bang them, right? There's like, no matter what a woman looks like, there's a guy hitting on her. So they get it all the time and they're like, I must be really good. For guys, they're like, I got to try my hardest. I'm competing with all these other guys. And it creates this interesting situation where women will highly value their themselves and only want to be near the highest ranked guys. Let me play this video for you, and then we'll talk a bit about the psychology of sex. And I am no expert, but I think it's interesting. So let's play the clip. And I want to stress again, it's probably edited, but here you go.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
I personally would rate myself a 10.
I think I'm a 10 because I really think I'm pretty.
I think I'm a...
All right, let's do this. I'm gonna give you my personal rating. Hey, nobody gets 10s. Yo, 10s are unicorns. Like, there's a thing in skateboarding called the 9 Club, and that's because when you do the best trick in a contest, it's like 9.3 or 9.5. Because how do they give you a 10? Like, how did you do the perfect trick in a contest, right? But let's start. All right, so this first lady.
How much would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10?
I personally would rate myself a 10.
So the first lady, it's like, I can understand why people would view her as attractive, but personality goes a long way. The dating websites show us that men actually care a lot about personality. Yup. And that's why, although guys tend to message women who are 22 years old, there's a lot of creepier stuff. Men actually find younger women more attractive, but aren't interested in underdeveloped brains. This lady right here, I'm just going to say it for me, 6.
I think I'm a 10 because
Because why? I mean, I'm not saying it to be mean, like.
I really think I'm pretty.
But so, and here's what I'm trying to do too. I'm not trying to insert my personal preference. Like I have a girlfriend and everything like that. But let me stress this. There have been several studies on this where they've tracked the rating of attractiveness of people, and they vary. There was this great documentary I saw decades ago. I think it was called The Science of Sex, where they had men and women each get assigned a random number and put on their forehead so they can't see their own number. Then they're told, your goal is to pair up with the highest rated person possible. That's what you have to do. You don't know what your number is, but basically what they said was, if someone's got a 10, you want that 10. What happens? Everybody goes, they put all the men and women in the room. Nobody knows their own number. Everyone instantly goes to the 10s. The guy who's a 10 sees the woman who's a 10, and he goes, I want you. And she goes, I want you. Boom. The 10s have paired up easily. Then the 9s and the 8s, There was an interesting thing where it was the 9s, then the 8s. The 7s and the 6 actually went back and forth, like 6 and 7, 7 and 6 paired up, something like that. Because the guy who's a 6 is like, hey, I'll take it. And she's like, I'll take it. The 10 didn't want me. The 9 didn't want me. The 8 didn't want me. I don't know what my number is, but I'll take it. And what ended up happening was the 1s were with 1s, 2s were with 2s, 3s were with 3s. Why? The person who's got a 1 asks everyone, and everyone says, no way. Finally, they look at each other and like, I guess it's us. So I'm trying to apply a general, like, mainstream view, right? And you're allowed to like whatever you want. Here's a lady.
I think I'm a 10.
10. No, she's certainly not. Certainly not. I think most people would say certainly not. Many guys might say 6 or 7.
I know I'm a 10. I'm confident that I'm a 10.
I'm a motherfucking 10.
Okay, this lady is a 4. And again, I'm not trying to be a dick, but
I'm a 10. I'm fat, but I'm a 10.
I'm fat, but I'm a 10.
Wise, I'm probably like a 6. Personality-wise, 10.
Dude, your personality is not a 10, okay? But here we go.
Oh, I'm gonna go low. I'll go 2. I don't give a fuck.
We're so
I'll go 2. I don't care. Actually, by saying you're a 2, good sir, it actually boosts your rating quite a bit. That's confidence.
10. We're 10.
We back ourselves.
Realistically, like an 8. I was gonna say an 8. Yeah.
Okay, I actually think those girls were being fair. These two women look conventionally attractive. They say we're 10s. Well, realistically, we're 8s. Maybe a little high, but I think they know because they take care of themselves and look in the mirror. Question though is personality really does matter, and style matters a lot.
8.
Too.
I was gonna say an 8. Yeah.
10. Without a fucking question.
No.
Be a miss, babe.
Broke my scale.
Broke my
actually.
fucking
Broke my scale.
10, 11,
I would say I'm an 8. Solid.
10.
believe in yourself.
You've got to believe in yourself. This lady on the left, she's dressed up. She looks like she's got ready and everything. She says 8. She's being reasonable.
Like, if I'm being honest, I think I'm an 8.
10.
10. I'll tell you the reality.
How much would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm 10. I'm Hispanic and I got a fat ass.
How much would you rate?
So here's what I think. I think many of these women don't actually think they're 10s. I think the video is selectively edited to exclude women who probably something more reasonable. I think it's region specific. They're probably in Miami or something. So they're in areas where you have tons of this kind of women. I think if you went to a rural suburban church area, women are going to be much, much different. Men and women will both be very different. And then 6 or 7, maybe. That's always like a comfortable number. You're like, are you a 6 or are you a 7? And it's like, yeah, you'd rather be a 7 because 7's the right place to be. You're not the best, but you're pretty good. You get a B minus. I think the reality is most of these women do not really believe they're 10s. But they're saying that because, for guys, if you're talking about, that guy who said my personality is a 10, I think he kind of gets the idea. But going back to that Science of Sex documentary, they did this thing where they had women look at a bunch of pictures of men and rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of physical attractiveness. And of course, there's a guy who's like tall, chiseled, smiling, tall, dark, and handsome, all that. And they're like, his score was like 9.2 or some ridiculously high number. There's another guy who was short, frumpy, balding, chubby, and he got a 4. Here's the crazy thing. They went out, took these pictures and showed them to people and said, what number would you give this guy? And most of the people on the street gave the same numbers. Short, frumpy guy, 4. Tall, dark, and handsome, 9. Then something interesting. They added a bio to the side of the photographs. Tall, dark, and handsome. Guess what? Mid-30s and worked at a movie theater. Short and frumpy, computer programmer making $500,000 a year. Movie theater guy, 30. What happened? Tall, dark, and handsome, when they said, how would you rate this guy on his attractiveness on a scale of 1 to 10? And they saw his bio and his job, the women said 7. Now what about frumpy guy? 7. No kidding. The perception of beauty was heavily influenced by their social status, job title, and cash money. That's the difference between men and women. So for women, they're all coming out saying, I'm a 10. Why? Because they can have kids. So think about the evolutionary imperative here. A guy must produce resources to feed a family. A woman must be able to make the family. I'm not saying it's the way it should be, but that's the way it's been. Now it's changing with certain social dynamics for sure. But then what ends up happening is when it comes starting a family, you need a woman who can have children. So they're like, I'm a 10. Why? Because I got a fat ass, she says. It's like the reality is they think they're 10s because they have the ability to reproduce. That puts their evolutionary value at 10. Then you get a guy. And it's like, how much can you provide to make a family? And it's like, that matters. So guys are like, I don't know, 6, 7. They don't actually think as much about your ability to generate wealth. That's why intelligence goes a long way. So as I would say, or the way I would close this out, I think there's a lot of people on the left who get offended by these ideas. And then they post videos like, Tim's so ugly, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I don't care. You got to understand that there are evolutionary dynamics at play in psychology and biology that influence our wants and desires. We can overcome them, for we are thinking beings, but some people don't. So I love this. When I made those videos where I was like, conservatives tend to be more attractive, all of these libs were like, no, he's wrong, but he's actually right. But Tim's ugly, but he's actually right. Yeah. Conservatives do tend to be more attractive. They then post these videos like, this is what they do, that Taylor Swift video. What's it called? Like, you need to calm down or something. All the anti-LGBT people in the video have crooked teeth and are overweight, and all the LGBT people are like looking very pretty with their, whatever, looking clean, and they have makeup and they're smiling and confident. That's the perception they have to generate, because the left targets marginalized people who don't fit in as well, and they create a coalition around it. Whereas with the right, the beautiful people who have had things easier in life for being more attractive, taller men and prettier women, tend to think, hey, if I can do it, anyone can. And so that makes them more, I guess, conservative and independent-minded. These dynamics matter. Studying them, I think, is fun. But we'll throw it to our guy in backpack here who does this a lot, the desirable truth. I don't think it's the truth. I'd like to see these videos in like a very moral and religious neighborhood. You walk up to a woman and say, how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? And the woman might go, I don't. I think you'd have to ask my husband. And the husband's going to go, she's a 10. And she's going to go, oh, he's a 10 too. Like, you're going to get that from like hokey, fun, families. You go to the club where women are scantily clad and they're all going to say they're the best. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.